Who will get Megalovania in Deltarune? In Undertale, Megalovania is a song that represents a last stand. Not the last stand of monster kind, you already killed her, but the last stand of the game itself, of reality itself, through a character that represents himself, not through heroism, because again, you killed her, but through judgment. Every aspect of Sans' boss fight, from the music to the mechanics, represents the climax of the No Mercy route's limit testing, level grinding, meta-narrative themes. If the main characters of Undertale's pacifist route are Asriel, Kara, and Frisk, then the main characters of the No Mercy route are Flowey, Kara, and the player. So with that said, and with the existence of Deltarune, a game with meta-narrative themes and player presence even more at the forefront than in Undertale, the question is, who? Who in Deltarune will have the boss fight with Megalovania as the battle theme? Now obviously if Megalovania were to get into Deltarune's soundtrack, it would be a Weird Route song. One last stand to keep the player from snow-graving reality out of existence or some, I don't know. But who makes this last stand? It could be Sans again, but I'd say he plays a subtly yet distinctly different role from the melancholic character he played in Undertale. I'd get into it, but that's a video for another day. Maybe Papyrus will get Megalovania. He's not even in Deltarune yet, but who knows? That in of itself might become a meta commentary. Like, fine, you wanted to see something new so badly that you eldritchly manipulated the souls and psyches of some traumatized teenage childhood friends? Here, we introduced to you a character whose context you will only understand if you played an entirely different game, and he will spend the rest of his life kicking your ass. There are some popular fan songs which assert that Susie will get Megalovania. They're great songs, but I personally think that there are other motifs that fit her character better. First of all, Susie already has her own established motif in Versus Susie. And with her Gerson training arc, she already has set up to get the Of Justice motif and the Battle Against a True Hero motif. That's 3 motifs. I don't think you can make a Megalovania out of that without it sounding kind of bloated. So yeah, basically I think Susie is gonna die Undyne style in the Weird Route. You know what, let's pull back a bit actually and provide some context. For the sake of argument, we need to establish that before pop culture osmosis through a parody song tens of millions of views more popular than the original, what the f, made us think that Sans was the main character of Undertale, this Lazy Bones being a super hard boss fight was supposed to be a plot twist. There were hints that Sans knew more than the average monster. He teleports and calls it a shortcut. He pranks the player across time and space. But these characteristics of his aren't at the forefront of the narrative like they are in the No Mercy route. The player needs to start killing every monster in the underground to force Sans to reveal that side of himself. So to tally up the characteristics, I think a Megalovania boss needs to 1. Be a plot twist. A character you wouldn't typically expect. Maybe one you'd feel humiliated losing to. 2. Put to the forefront the meta-narrative themes of the game. 3. Be unfair. Game mechanics must be exploited and turned upon the player. Stuff like the enemy attacking first instead of you and attacking you through the menu. 4. As a character, represent not heroism, but judgment. Judgment. Now, you could say that judgment is a form of enforcing the rules. Judgment. Ruling. Rules. That's right, assholes. I assert that Rules Card is the final boss of the Weird Route. No, but like, think about it, dude. Rules Card plays a similar comedy relief role that Sans played in Undertale. Now, the difference between them is that Sans' comedy stuff was a thin veneer hiding special powers and intentions that he occasionally hinted at, while Rules is shown to flaunt inexplicable powers that he squanders with sheer stupidity. However, the stupidity doesn't change the fact that he has these powers. Rules can teleport in a more flashy way than Sans, but my point still stands, and he can attack you through the menu, restricting your ability to do anything other than act. The only ones with the ability to directly attack the battle menu in either Deltarune or Undertale are Sans, Asgore, Asriel, and Tenna, and Tenna is using Rules' power. Look! Also, why is Rules Card canonically the only man to speak in hands in his talk sprite? Sure, this moment is played as a joke, but you know who else broke the convention conventions of reality for the sake of comedy. Sans Undertale, baby! The rules card Megalovania is real. And why does his teleport animation mimic the animation the soul has when sealing a dark fountain? Don't you think that's a striking visual similarity to canonically one of the most powerful forces in the game? And speaking of visual similarities, why does Rules Card look like the Mystery Man sprite? That's definitely Gaster. Like, in general, they're both gloomy. Look at how gloomy they are. Do you see the vision? You have to. I'm not insane. You're insane if you don't see it how I have this whole time. I see past your foolish facade. Rules Card, final boss of the weird route. Those pretend acts of failure were the real puzzle all along, and I've already put the pieces together. Admit it!